I used to squint and fight with a tiny needle for minutes until I learned this simple trick. Now, no matter how small the needle hole is, I can thread it in 1 second effortlessly. In my hand is a needle box with all kinds of colorful threads and needles with different sized eyes. If you try to insert the thread into the needle the usual way, it's really hard to get it through. That's why today you must watch until the end of the video. I'll show you 5 simple ways to thread a needle, and it will go through in just one try. Let's get started. Tip 1. Using half of a razor blade. With this method, we'll turn something unexpected into a handy little tool, a simple razor blade. Start by taking a new clean razor and carefully use scissors to cut or break it in half, lengthwise. Be careful not to hurt yourself. You'll only need 1/2 for this trick. Next, for safety, cut off the sharp edge on the outside. Then shape it by cutting one diagonal corner on the right side and trimming a bit off the left side. Now you'll see that the tip of the razor has formed into a pointed end. At this point, you'll see a small groove near the tip of the peeler that looks like a tiny hook. Now start threading the needle. Simply insert the pointed end of the half razor blade through the needle's eye. Because the blade is thin, it passes through easily. Then place the thread horizontally and gently hook it into the small groove at the tip. Hold the needle firmly and slowly pull the razor blade backward. The thread will follow the blade and slide smoothly through the needle's eye in just one motion. It's simple, quick, and surprisingly clever, turning an everyday item like a razor blade into an effective needle threading tool. Sometimes the best ideas come from the most unexpected places. Tip 2. Using a safety pin. I bet you didn't know that a simple safety pin you already have at home can help you thread a needle instantly. Start by laying the thread horizontally across your index finger, keeping it gently stretched and slightly taut. Next, place the needle's eye directly on top of the thread resting on your finger. This helps position the thread accurately and keeps it from slipping when you move to the next step. Now carefully open the safety pin. Use the sharp tip to go from underneath the needle's eye upward, hooking the thread that's lying across your finger. Because the thread is already aligned and slightly tight, simply lift the safety pin upward, and the thread will pass through the needle's eye in less than 3 seconds. You can repeat this step using a different color of thread to see how consistent it is. This method is quick, precise, and requires no special tools. This clever little trick is perfect for anyone with poor eyesight, shaky hands, or limited dexterity, and the best part is you can even do it with one hand if needed. Simple, practical, and surprisingly effective. Method 3. Using a paintbrush, bristle, and tape. Most people think they need a special tool from a tailor shop, but in fact you can easily make one at home with things you already have. Take a regular paintbrush, the kind with thin, straight, and flexible bristles. Pull out a single bristle. This will be the main material for your homemade needle threader. Next, pluck one bristle and fold it in half so that it forms a small loop at the end. This loop will act as a fake needle eye. Now take a small piece of tape and place the folded end of the bristle on top, making sure the small loop stays outside. Fold the tape in half to hold the bristle securely. If there's any excess tape, just trim it off with scissors to make it neat. When using it, you need to insert the bristle's end through the needle's eye. Then thread the sewing thread through the small loop of the bristle. Finally, hold the needle firmly and gently pull the tape handle backward. The thread will slide smoothly through the needle's eye. No squinting, no frustration. What I like about this method is that it's quick and practical. It only takes a few minutes, costs nothing, and works perfectly. You can even make a few extras to keep in your sewing kit, so you'll always have one ready when needed. Tip 4. Use a bottle cap and copper wire. You can also make a simple needle threader using a bottle cap and a short piece of copper wire. It's quick, cheap, and works in seconds. Strip the outer plastic coating off a wire to reveal the thin copper strands inside. Take one small strand and fold it in half so the two ends meet. The loop in the middle will act as the needle eye. Take a plastic bottle cap and make two small holes in it, one in the center and one near the edge. You can use a heated nail or a sharp tool if you don't have a soldering iron. Push both ends of the copper wire through the holes from the outside, leaving the loop on the outside of the cap. Add a small drop of hot glue inside the cap to hold the wire in place. When the glue cools, trim the loop slightly so it fits easily through a needle's eye. To use it, push the copper loop through the needle, place the thread inside the loop, and pull it back gently. The thread slides right through with no effort. This little DIY tool costs almost nothing, can be reused many times, and makes threading easy for anyone, especially older adults or those with poor eyesight. Tip 5. Threading a needle with lip balm. See how the end of the thread becomes frayed or splits into tiny fibers, making it almost impossible to pass through the needle's eye. With this little trick, you can fix that in just a few seconds. Take your favorite lip balm or any moisturizing balm you have at home. Gently rub the tip of the thread on the surface of the balm to coat it with a thin layer. You don't need much. Just a light coating is enough. Then roll the end of the thread between your fingers to shape it into a smooth, pointed tip. The balm helps bind the fibers together and adds a little weight to the thread. Now just insert the end through the needle's eye, and you'll see how easily it slides through without fraying or bending. If the thread still feels too soft, let it sit for a few seconds to dry slightly. This will make it firmer. Try it again, and you'll see how effortless it is to move the thread back and forth. This trick is quick, clean, and safe, and the lip balm even keeps your thread soft and conditioned. Give it a try. I'm sure anyone can do it perfectly on the very first attempt. It's amazing how something as small as a needle can teach us so much about patience and creativity. So next time your thread refuses to cooperate, just smile, because now you have plenty of ways to make it obey. Which one will you try first today? The paintbrush, bristle, the bottle cap, the razor blade, the safety pin, or the lip balm? Tell me in the comments below. I'd love to hear which trick is your favorite. And remember, it's not just about threading a needle. Tracy will always bring you more clever, practical tips to make everyday life a little easier. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next one.